The departure gate swallows my family whole, and I'm standing here clutching my empty purse like a fool. My boarding pass is gone, vanished, and my daughter Karen didn't even look back when I called her name. Typical, I mutter, watching their silhouettes disappear down the jetway. 43 years of raising that girl, and she treats me like luggage she forgot to check. Margaret. I freeze. That voice smoky, familiar, impossible. I turn around, and there she Island Rose, my sister Rose, standing in Terminal B like she never wrapped her Buick around that oak tree on Highway 9. She's wearing the same burgundy dress she died in, her red lipstick perfect as always. You're not real, the words tumble out of my mouth. You're dead. I buried you 30 years ago. Rose smiles, that crooked smile I used to love and hate in equal measure. Dead doesn't mean gone, Maggie. You of all people should know that. A businessman walks right through her. Actually through her, like she's made of morning mist. He doesn't even shiver. I'm losing my mind. I grip the plastic chair beside me, 72 years old and finally cracking up. You're not crazy. You're abandoned. Rose steps closer, and I smell her perfume, white shoulders, the same scent that used to cling to our mother's scarves. That boarding pass didn't just slip out of your purse, Maggie. My heart hammers against my ribs. What are you talking about? They planned this. Rose's eyes, those same green eyes that got us both in trouble at 16 Narrow, with something that looks like pity. The whole family vacation to Europe. The lost boarding pass. The convenient excuse to leave you behind. Number, I shake my head so hard my vision blurs. Karen wouldn't. Karen would. Karen did. Rose reaches out like she wants to touch my face, but her hand stops just short of my cheek. They wanted you gone, Maggie. Not dead. Just gone. The terminal spins around me. Families hugging goodbye. Children crying. Announcement echoing overhead about delayed flights and gate changes. Normal sounds for normal people living normal lives. Why would they? Because you're inconvenient now. Old. Needy. A burden they've been carrying for too long. Rose's voice is gentle, but her words hit like slaps. When did you last feel wanted in your own home, Maggie? I think about last Christmas. Karen rolling her eyes when I asked for help cutting the turkey. My grandson Tommy glued to his phone, barely acknowledging my presence. The way they all fell silent when I walked into rooms, like I'd interrupted something important. They love me, I whisper. They loved you, past tense. Now you're just something they have to manage. A woman with 3 crying toddlers pushes past me, muttering about missing connections. She doesn't see Rose either. Nobody does. Just me, talking to a ghost in an airport, looking like the crazy old lady I swore I'd never become. Prove it, I say. If they really wanted me gone, prove it. Rose's smile turned sad. Oh, honey, I was hoping you wouldn't ask. She starts walking toward the security checkpoint, her heels clicking on tiles that don't seem to register her weight. I follow, because what else am I supposed to do? Sit here and wait for the next flight to nowhere? Rose, wait. But she's already at the bank of monitors near the TSA station, the ones that show security footage from throughout the terminal. Look. She points at a screen showing Gate 47 from 2 hours ago. There I am on the monitor, slumped in a chair, mouth open, purse in my lap, sleeping like a baby after Karen gave me those travel vitamins that made me so drowsy. And there's Karen, my daughter, my baby girl, sliding her hand into my purse while I sleep, her fingers finding my boarding pass, slipping it out like a pickpocket. Number. The word comes out strangled. On the screen, Karen glances around, makes sure nobody's watching, then tears up my boarding pass and drops the pieces in a trash can. She checks her phone, texts someone, then sits back down beside me like nothing happened. She drugged me. My legs give out. I sink into the nearest chair. My own daughter drugged me. Light sedatives. Nothing harmful. Just enough to keep you quiet while she staged your accident. Rose's voice is matter of fact, like she's reading a grocery list. The plan was always to leave you here. Tell people you missed the flight. Paint you as the confused old woman who can't keep track of important documents. I watch my daughter on the screen, texting someone else. Her thumb moves fast, typing message after message. Who is she texting? Rose leans over the security guard's shoulder. He doesn't notice, of course, and reads the monitor. Your son, Michael. She's telling him the plan worked, that you're safely handled for the next 2 weeks. The words hit me like physical blows. Safely handled. Like I'm a problem that needed solving. They're probably posting photos on Facebook right now, Rose continues. The whole family enjoying their European adventure. Nobody will even ask where Grandma is until they get home. I think about my empty house. The refrigerator with nothing but leftover casserole and expired milk. The pills I need to take twice a day that are sitting on my kitchen counter. The neighbor who waters my plants and feeds my cat, except I don't have plants anymore, and Whiskers died last spring. I have nowhere to go. The realization settles over me like cold water. They knew I'd have nowhere to go. Rose kneels beside my chair, her face inches from mine. This close, I can see the tiny lines around her eyes, the same ones I remember from when we were both young mothers trying to figure out how to raise babies and keep marriages together. That's where you're wrong, Maggie. Her voice drops to a whisper. You have somewhere to go. Somewhere they never expected you to find. She stands up and points at a different monitor. This one shows the airport parking garage from yesterday morning. There's Karen again, but she's not alone. She's talking to a man in a expensive suit, shaking his hand like they've just made a deal. Who is that? Rose's smile turns sharp. That, my dear sister, is your son-in-law's lawyer. And what they're discussing isn't your boarding pass. My blood turns to ice. What are they discussing? Your house, your savings account, your will. Rose's eyes glitter with something dangerous. They're not just abandoning you, Maggie. They're erasing you. The monitor flickers, showing Karen handing the lawyer a thick manila envelope. What's in the envelope? Rose looks at me with the same expression she wore when we were kids, and she was about to tell me something that would change everything. Power of attorney papers, signed with your name. Except you never signed them. Forged documents are just the beginning. Rose moves through the terminal like she owns the place, her burgundy dress flowing behind her. Come on, there's more you need to see. My legs feel like wet concrete, but I follow her to another bank of monitors. Each screen shows a different angle of my personal hell. This one's from 3 days ago. Rose taps a screen showing my kitchen. There's Sarah, my sweet Sarah, who calls me every Sunday standing at my counter with a manila folder. She's photographing everything. My pill bottles arranged just so. Dirty dishes in the sink that I swear I washed. A grocery list written in handwriting that looks like mine but isn't quite right. She's staging evidence, I whisper. Building a case that you can't take care of yourself. Rose's voice is clinical now, like she's reading a medical report. Look at this. The next monitor shows my living room from Tuesday morning. David, Sarah's husband, the man I welcomed into my family 20 years ago, is sitting across from my grandchildren, Tommy and Emma. 16 and 14, old enough to know better. Now remember, David says on the screen, when Grandma asks you questions, just look confused. Don't answer right away. Make her repeat herself. But why, Dad? Emma's voice is small, uncertain. Because Grandma's sick, sweetheart. She doesn't realize it yet, but she's losing her memory. We need to help the doctors see how bad it's getting so they can take care of her. Tommy nods eagerly. Like when she asked me the same question 3 times last week. Except you coached him to ignore me the first 2 times. I'm talking to the screen now, my voice cracking. You made me think I was losing my mind. David reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small recording device. If she gets really confused or says anything strange, try to get it on your phones. We need documentation. That's not documentation, Rose says. That's entrapment. The monitors flicker, showing me scene after scene of my family's betrayal. Sarah going through my mail, taking photos of overdue bills that aren't actually overdue. David measuring my response time when they ask me questions, timing me like I'm a lab rat. Even my neighbors, Mrs. Chen and Bob from next door, nodding along when Sarah tells them she's worried about Mom's mental state. They recruited my friends, I breathe. They recruited everyone. Rose pulls up another screen. This is from yesterday morning, right before you left for the airport. I watch myself sitting at my kitchen table, sipping coffee and reading the newspaper. Normal, peaceful. Then Sarah walks in with a travel mug. Here, Mom. I made your favorite hazelnut with extra cream. On screen, I smile and take the mug gratefully. My daughter who thinks of everything. My daughter who cares. But Rose zooms in on Sarah's hand as she sets the mug down. There's a small white packet, the kind you get from pharmacies, tucked in her palm. As I lift the mug to drink, Sarah tears it open and dumps the contents into my coffee. What is that? My voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. Mild sedatives, enough to make you drowsy and compliant. But that's not all. Rose's expression darkens. She's been doing this for months, Maggie. Maybe longer. Months! The terminal starts spinning again. I grip the back of a chair. Those times I felt foggy when I couldn't remember where I put things. Wasn't your age. Wasn't early dementia. Was your daughter systematically drugging you so you'd exhibit the symptoms they needed to prove incompetence? I think about all those doctor visits Sarah insisted on. How she always came with me, always spoke for me when I seemed confused. How the doctors looked at her with such sympathy when she talked about my episodes. The vacation was never a vacation, I say slowly. It was a cover story. While you sit here stranded, they're meeting with lawyers, filing papers, getting signatures from doctors who've been documenting your decline for months. Rose brings up a new screen, showing the interior of a law office. This is happening right now. There they are. My entire family sitting around a conference table like they're planning a birthday party instead of destroying my life. Sarah has a briefcase full of documents. David is showing photos on his tablet, pictures of me looking confused and disheveled that I don't even remember being taken. The lawyer, the same man from the parking garage footage, spreads papers across the table. The incompetency hearing is scheduled for Friday, he says. With the evidence you've provided and the medical documentation, it should be straightforward. What about Mom? That's Michael, my youngest. For a moment, hope flickers in my chest. What about her? Sarah's voice is sharp. She's clearly not capable of making decisions anymore. You've seen how confused she gets. But she seems fine most of the time. Michael, David's voice cuts through my son's protest. Your mother almost burned down her kitchen last month. She called me at 2 a.m. asking why her car wouldn't start when it was in the shop. She forgot to pay her electric bill 3 times. Lies. All lies. But I remember those incidents now, remember feeling foggy and disoriented, like I was watching someone else live my life. Once we have guardianship, the lawyer continues, we can move her to a facility, sell the house, transfer the assets to the trust. How much are we talking about? That's Tommy, my 16-year-old grandson, asking about my money like I'm already dead. With the house, investments, and life insurance policies, approximately 2.8 million. The number hits me like a physical blow. I never told them about Harold's life insurance policy, the one that matured last year, the one I was saving to help pay for their college educations. They went through my private papers, I whisper. My safe deposit box. Sarah has keys to everything, Rose confirms. Has for 2 years now. You gave them to her when you had that bad bout of flu, remember? Asked her to help with your banking while you recovered? I remember. Of course I remember. My responsible daughter, always looking out for me. The poisoning started right after that, Rose continues. Small doses, just enough to make you seem forgetful, confused, like you needed help. But why? The words tear out of my throat. I would have given them anything. They just had to ask. Because asking means you still have power, control, the right to say no. Rose's face is grim. They needed you incapacitated, not generous. On the monitor, Sarah checks her watch. How long do we have? The emergency competency order goes into effect at 6 p.m. today, the lawyer says. Once that's filed, her accounts will be frozen pending the hearing. 6 p.m. I checked the airport clock. It's 4:30. 90 minutes, I whisper. 90 minutes before you lose everything. Rose moves closer to me. Your house, your money, your freedom, your life. My chest tightens. All those months of feeling like I was losing myself, I was just not the way I thought. What do I do? I ask. How do I fight this? Rose's smile returns, but it's different now. Dangerous. You don't fight it, Maggie. You beat them at their own game. She pulls up one final monitor. This one shows a different angle of my kitchen from this morning, a view I've never seen before, like the camera was hidden. There's something else you need to know. Rose's voice drops. About who's really behind all this. I watch the screen, expecting to see more evidence of Sarah's betrayal. Instead, I see something that makes my blood freeze. It's not Sarah adding something to my morning coffee. It's someone else. Someone I trusted completely. Someone who had access to my house, my food, my life for years. No, I breathe. That's not possible. The person poisoning you isn't your daughter, Maggie. Rose's eyes are dark with secrets. It's someone who's been planning this much longer than you think. The airport pharmacy keeps surveillance for insurance purposes. Rose glides past travelers toward the small CVS near baggage claim. 6 months of footage. Everything we need. My hands shake as I follow her. 6 months? That's when it started. When Elena suggested you needed better vitamins for your health. Rose stops at the pharmacy counter, pointing at the security monitor behind the register. The pharmacist doesn't see her, of course. To him, I'm just another confused old woman staring at blank screens. But I see everything. Elena. My Elena. Sweet, reliable Elena who's cleaned my house every Tuesday for 5 years. She's standing at this exact counter 6 months ago, purchasing bottles of what look like standard multivitamins. Those aren't vitamins, Rose says. Watch her hands. Elena glances around nervously, then slides a small white packet across the counter. Money changes hands under the table. The pharmacist, a young man with nervous eyes, opens the vitamin bottles and replaces half the contents with pills from unmarked containers. Custom blend, Rose explains. Mild sedatives mixed with actual vitamins. Enough to cloud your thinking without being obviously harmful. Brilliant, really. Elena wouldn't... I start, but Rose cuts me off. Elena has been planning this longer than your family has been alive. The screen flickers to a different date. Look at this. 3 months ago. Now I'm watching Elena in my own home, but from an angle I've never seen before. She's in my bedroom, going through my jewelry box, photographing everything. My wedding ring that I keep there when I do dishes. My mother's pearls. Even Harold's college ring that I haven't touched since he died. She's cataloging your life, Rose says. Every valuable item, every personal document, everything she'll need to become you. The camera shifts to my home office. Elena is seated at my desk, practicing my signature on a legal pad. Over and over, her handwriting slowly morphing into mine. She's good at it. Too good. How long has she been forging my signature? Long enough to open 3 credit cards in your name, transfer money between accounts, sign up for services you never requested. Rose's voice is ice cold. She's not just stealing from you, Maggie. She's becoming you. Another screen shows Elena photographing my birth certificate, Social security card, passport, documents I kept locked in my safe. The same safe Elena helped me organize after Harold died. She has my combination. She's had it for years. You trusted her with everything. Rose turns to me, her green eyes blazing. Elena told your family about Harold's insurance policy. She's the one who suggested they document your decline. She's been feeding them information and evidence for months. The pharmacy monitor switches to last week. Elena and Sarah sitting in a coffee shop, heads bent together over Elena's phone. They look like conspirators, because that's exactly what they are. Your daughter thinks she's the mastermind, Rose continues. Thinks she's using Elena as an inside source. But Elena's been manipulating her from the beginning. On screen, Elena slides a folder across the table to Sarah. Photos of me looking confused and disheveled. All the staged evidence David mentioned. But why? My voice cracks. Elena has a good job, a nice life. Why would she do this? Because Elena Martinez isn't Elena Martinez. Rose's smile turns sharp. Watch this. The screen shows Elena from 4 years ago, my first week employing her. She's filling out paperwork, writing down references, giving me her social security number. But Rose zooms in on her face, then splits the screen to show a different woman entirely. Same bone structure, same eyes, but different hair, different clothes, different name. Her real name is Anna Volkov. She's been arrested twice for elder fraud, identity theft, forgery. Rose's voice is matter of fact. She specifically targets elderly women with significant assets and adult children who live far away. My stomach drops. She researched me. For months before she ever rang your doorbell. She knew about Harold's death, your loneliness, your financial situation. She knew Sarah lived 3 states away and only visited twice a year. You were the perfect target. I think about how Elena just appeared in my life, right when I needed her most. How she always knew exactly what to say, what to do. How she made herself indispensable. The family thinks they're stealing my inheritance, I say slowly. But Elena's stealing my entire identity. While they fight over your money in court, Elena disappears. 6 months later, Margaret Henderson, who looks remarkably like Elena with the right haircut and makeup, surfaces in a different state with all your documents, your credit history, your life. The monitor shows Elena back in my bedroom last month, trying on my clothes. My favorite blue dress, the one Harold always said brought out my eyes. She's studying herself in my mirror, practicing my posture, my gestures. She's been practicing being me. And once you're declared incompetent and locked away in some facility, Elena Martinez dies in a convenient accident. Anna Volkov disappears forever. And Margaret Henderson gets a fresh start with $2.8 million. The screens flicker again, showing Elena's recent activity. Airport security footage from this morning, but not the terminal where my family abandoned me. A different terminal. Elena boarding a flight back home while my family continues to Europe. She left before us? I ask. She never planned to go to Europe. That was just another lie to get her access to your empty house. Rose points at the timestamp. Her flight landed 2 hours ago. My blood turns to ice. She's at my house right now, planting final evidence, staging the last scenes of your mental deterioration. By the time your family files those papers at 6 p.m., Elena will have created a perfect case study in advanced dementia. I watch Elena on the screen, boarding her flight with a carry-on bag and a cruel smile. In that moment, she looks nothing like the sweet, caring woman who brought me soup when I was sick. How did I not see it? I whisper. Because she's very good at what she does. She's been perfecting this con for years. Rose's expression softens slightly. And because you needed to believe someone cared about you. The pharmacy screens go dark, but Rose isn't finished. She leads me toward the departure gates, her steps quickening. There's something else, Maggie. Something about why I'm here. Why I can show you all this. You said dead doesn't mean gone. Dead means angry, especially when you're murdered. Rose stops walking, turns to face me. That car crash 30 years ago? It wasn't an accident. The terminal noise fades to nothing. What? Elena Martinez isn't her first identity. Anna Volkov isn't her real name either. Rose's eyes are dark with secrets. 30 years ago, she was someone else entirely. Someone who tried to steal from our family before. That's impossible. Elena would have been a child. Elena would have been 25. Old enough to seduce a lonely widower. Old enough to forge documents. Old enough to stage a car accident when her Mark's sister got too suspicious. Rose's smile is sharp as broken glass. Hello, Maggie. I'm Rose Henderson. And you're about to meet the woman who killed me. Sit down, Maggie. Rose's voice is gentler now, but there's steel underneath. What I'm about to tell you is going to hurt. I sink into an airport chair, my legs finally giving out completely. More than finding out my daughter wants me declared incompetent? Much more. Rose settles beside me, or tries to. She hovers slightly above the seat, never quite touching anything solid. That night I died, the 15th of October, 1994, I wasn't driving home from book club. You were. I remember. Mom got the call at midnight. I was driving home from confronting a woman named Catherine Walsh. Rose's eyes focus on something I can't see. She'd been helping Mom with her finances for 6 months. Sweet, reliable Catherine, who did her shopping and balanced her checkbook. The pieces start clicking together in my mind. Catherine Walsh was stealing from Mom's estate. Slowly, methodically, just like Elena's been doing to you. Rose's form flickers, like bad television reception. I found discrepancies in Mom's bank statements. Forged checks, missing jewelry. I remember that time. Mom was 86, starting to show signs of confusion. Rose had been worried about her for months, visiting more often, asking questions. I confronted Catherine that night, demanded she return what she'd stolen. Rose's voice drops to a whisper. She denied everything at first. Then she got angry, desperate. The airport fades around us. Rose's memories become mine, playing out like a movie I can't stop watching. I see Rose 30 years ago, standing in a dark parking lot outside Catherine Walsh's apartment. Catherine younger then, different hair, but the same calculating eyes I know as Elena's backing toward a car. You can't prove anything, Catherine says in the memory. I have bank records, copies of Mom's real signature compared to the forgeries. The police will be very interested. Rose holds up a manila folder, thick with evidence. Catherine's face changes. The mask slips. Underneath is something cold and predatory. Your mother will be dead within the year anyway. Alzheimer's runs in families, you know. You might want to think about your own future, Rose. Are you threatening me? I'm offering you a choice. Walk away, and I disappear quietly. Keep pushing, and things get complicated for everyone. But Rose doesn't walk away. She never did. Not from anything important. I'm calling the police tomorrow morning, she says. Mom deserves better than being prey for someone like you. The memory shifts. Rose driving home on that winding mountain road, her headlights cutting through thick fog. She's upset, hands shaking on the steering wheel, but determined to do the right thing. Then another car appears behind her, following too close. Headlights blazing. Catherine Walsh's car. She followed me. Rose's present voice narrates over the memory. Waited until we reached Dead Man's Curve. You remember that stretch of highway, the one without guardrails. I watch in horror as Catherine's car rams Rose's from behind. Once, twice. Rose fights for control, but the third impact sends her spinning off the road. The memory goes dark. When it clears, I see Catherine standing over Rose's broken body, checking for a pulse. Rose is still alive, barely conscious, blood running down her face. Should have walked away, Catherine whispers, then pushes the car the rest of the way over the embankment. She made sure I was dead, Rose says simply. Then she went through my purse, took my wallet, my ID, anything that might be useful later. The memory fades, leaving us back in the airport terminal. I'm crying, tears streaming down my face for a sister whose murder I never knew had happened. The police called it an accident. Bad weather, dangerous road, case closed. Rose's form is more solid now, fed by my belief, my anger. Catherine Walsh disappeared the next day. Mom died 6 months later, never knowing what really happened to me. And Catherine became Elena. Eventually, she's had a dozen identities since then. She keeps pieces of each life documents, credit histories, personal details, like a serial killer keeping trophies. Rose stands, her burgundy dress flowing around her like spilled wine. She's been wearing my social security number for 30 years, Maggie. Parts of my identity stitched into her fake personas. I think about Elena's references when I hired her. The background check that came back clean. All fabricated using stolen identities, including Rose's. Why didn't you, I start, then realize how crazy the question sounds? Why didn't your ghost do something before now? Because I was trapped, bound to her crimes, unable to move on until she faces justice. Rose's smile is fierce, but also because she was careful. Small cons, single victims, never staying in one place long enough to leave a trail. Until now. Until now. Your family's greed gave her the perfect opportunity for the biggest score of her life. But it also made her sloppy. Rose gestures toward the security monitors. She left evidence everywhere. Digital footprints, surveillance footage, financial records. Evidence the police will never find unless someone tells them where to look. Exactly. And Elena knows that. She's back at your house right now, destroying everything that could connect her to this con and to me. My phone buzzes. A text message from an unknown number. Having a lovely time in Paris. Hope you're doing well at home. Sarah. Except Sarah's phone should be in airplane mode over the Atlantic. This text came from my house. Elena, I whisper. She's using your daughter's phone to maintain the illusion, making sure no one gets suspicious about your family's sudden absence. Rose's expression darkens, but she's also planting final evidence of your deteriorating mental state. By 6 p.m., when those legal papers are filed, she'll have staged the perfect breakdown. I check the time. 5:15 p.m. 45 minutes. To save your life, your identity, your future. Rose moves closer, her form flickering with urgency. But there's only one way to stop her, Maggie. Only one way to get back to your house in time. I don't have a car. I can't afford a taxi all the way home. I don't even have my boarding pass. You don't need any of those things. Rose's eyes burn with 30 years of trapped rage. You need to trust me. Trust a dead woman who's been waiting 3 decades for justice. What are you asking me to do? Let me in. Rose reaches toward me, her hand stopping just short of my face. Let me share your body, your strength, your life force, just long enough to get home. Just long enough to stop her. You want to possess me? I want to partner with you. 2 sisters, working together like we should have 30 years ago. Rose's voice is urgent. Elena thinks she killed the only person who could expose her. She doesn't know I've been waiting, watching, planning. My phone buzzes again. Another fake text from Sarah. Mom, just checking in. You seemed so confused this morning. Are you remembering to take your medication? Elena. Gaslighting me even from beyond the grave of my abandoned life. She's not going to stop, I say. Even if the family plot fails, she'll find another way to destroy me. Not destroy, replace. Rose's hand hovers over mine. By tomorrow morning, Elena Martinez will be dead in a convenient accident. But Margaret Henderson will be alive and well, ready to start a new life somewhere far away. I look at my sister, my murdered sister, and see 30 years of justice denied. 30 years of watching a killer live free while she remained trapped between worlds. What do I have to do? Rose's smile is fierce as a blade. Take my hand, Maggie, and let's go home. Rose's hand touches mine, and lightning shoots through every nerve in my body. I'm not 72 anymore. I'm 40. I'm 20. I'm every age I've ever been, all at once. Power flooding through muscles that haven't felt this strong in decades. Jesus! The word comes out in Rose's voice, overlapping with mine. I forgot what it felt like to be alive. We move through the airport like we own it, because right now, we do. Rose's fury and my determination combined into something unstoppable. People step aside without knowing why. Security guards look right through us. The car, Rose says through my mouth. Blue Honda in short-term parking. Elena drove it here this morning. That's stealing. Elena stole 30 years of my afterlife. I think we're even. The Honda's keys are tucked inside the wheel well, exactly where Rose said they'd be. The engine purrs to life, and suddenly we're flying down the highway at 80 miles per hour in a car that should belong to a dead woman. How did you know? I've been watching her for years, learning her patterns, waiting for the perfect moment. Rose's presence thrums through my bones. She always keeps backup transportation. Always has an escape plan. 25 minutes later, we're pulling into my own driveway. The house looks normal from the outside, but I can feel something wrong. Poisonous. Like a wound that's been festering for months. She's in your bedroom, Rose whispers, planting evidence. We slip through the back door, my door, in my house, and I hear Elena upstairs, moving around like she owns the place. Which, legally, she almost does. Remember, Rose says, you're not the confused old woman anymore. You're Margaret Henderson, and this is your home. I climb the stairs with legs that feel 30 years younger. Each step is steady, strong, silent. At the top, I see Elena in my bedroom, kneeling by my bedside table with a syringe and several empty pill bottles. Final staging, Rose explains in my mind, making it look like you tried to overdose before the competency hearing. Elena doesn't hear us coming. She's too focused on her work, too confident in her victory. She draws liquid from a small vial into the syringe, the same sedative she's been using, but concentrated. Enough to make it look like a desperate suicide attempt. Elena! She spins around, and her face goes white. For a moment, she looks exactly like she did 30 years ago when Rose confronted her in that parking lot. Margaret! You're supposed to be... She fumbles with the syringe, tries to hide it behind her back. I was just... cleaning your room. You left such a mess this morning. The mess you made. My voice is stronger than it's been in months. Rose's presence filling every syllable with authority. While you were drugging me. Elena's mask starts to slip. I don't know what you're talking about. You're confused again. Let me help you back to bed. She moves toward me with a syringe. But I'm ready. Rose guides my hand, and I grab Elena's wrist with strength that surprises us both. 30 years, I say, and Elena's eyes widen. She knows that voice. She remembers. That's impossible. Elena tries to pull free, but my grip is iron. Rose is dead. I made sure. You made sure of nothing. Rose's fury blazes through me. Did you really think murder would stop me from protecting my family? Elena's face crumbles. The sweet, caring mask dissolves completely, leaving something feral and desperate underneath. You can't prove anything, even if you remember. Even if you're not as confused as everyone thinks. The legal papers are already filed. The doctor's reports are already submitted. In 10 minutes, you'll be declared incompetent whether you like it or not. I smile, and it's Rose's sharp, dangerous smile. Check the time, Elena. She glances at the bedside clock. 6:05 p.m. The hearing was delayed, I say. Funny thing about legal documents, when they're filed electronically, they leave digital fingerprints. And when those fingerprints don't match the person who supposedly signed them, Elena's face goes gray. You couldn't have. My sister spent 30 years learning to manipulate electronics. Amazing what a ghost can do with a cell phone signal. I hold up my phone, showing the screen full of messages I never sent. Police, FBI, even the district attorney, all very interested in a serial identity thief who's been operating for decades. Sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. Elena lunges for the window, but Rose anticipates the move. My body responds with reflexes I haven't had since high school, and Elena crashes into the dresser instead. Where is it? I demand. Where's the evidence you kept from Rose's murder? I don't. You keep trophies. Rose's wallet, her driver's license, probably her wedding ring. Rose's knowledge flows through me like water. You couldn't resist keeping pieces of your first perfect kill. Elena's eyes flick toward the closet. Just for a second, but it's enough. I find the shoebox hidden behind winter coats I forgot I owned. Inside, Rose's wallet, her ID, even a Polaroid of the crash scene. But more than that, documents from a dozen other identities, other victims, other lives stolen and discarded. Catherine Walsh, Anna Volkov, Maria Santos, Jennifer Chen. I read the names off fake IDs, each one representing a life destroyed. How many, Elena? How many people did you erase? The sirens are in my driveway now. Car doors slamming, heavy footsteps on my front porch. Elena makes one last desperate grab for the syringe, but I'm not confused anymore. I'm not weak. I'm Margaret Henderson, and I'm done being afraid. The bedroom door bursts open. 3 police officers, followed by 2 FBI agents in dark suits. Margaret Henderson, the lead officer asks. We got your messages. All 27 of them. I hand him the shoebox. Everything you need is in here. Financial records, forged documents, evidence of identity theft going back 3 decades. They cuff Elena while she screams about my mental incompetence, my family's legal proceedings, how nobody will believe a crazy old woman over medical documentation. But the crazy old woman has backup. The temperature in the room drops 20 degrees. Frost forms on the windows. And suddenly, Rose is there not just in my mind, but standing beside me, visible to everyone. Elena stops screaming. The police officers step backward, and Rose Henderson, murdered 30 years ago, looks her killer in the eye. Hello, Catherine, Rose says, her voice carrying the weight of 3 decades. Remember me? Elena collapses, just falls to her knees, staring at impossible proof of her greatest crime. The dead don't stay buried when there's justice to be done, Rose continues. She's fading now, her form becoming translucent, but her voice is clear. And justice, Catherine, is a patient woman. The light around Rose intensifies, golden and warm. She turns to me, smiles the same crooked smile I've missed for 30 years. Thank you, Maggie, for believing, for fighting back. Thank you for waiting for me. Rose reaches out once more, and this time her hand touches my face. Real, solid, warm. Take care of yourself, she whispers. You're stronger than you ever knew. The golden light expands, fills the room, and Rose Henderson dissolves into peace she's been denied for 30 years. When it fades, Elena is in custody, the evidence is secured, and I'm standing in my own bedroom, truly my own, for the first time in months. My phone rings. Sarah. Mom? We just got the strangest call from the FBI. They said something about Elena being arrested, and that all the legal proceedings have been suspended. I look out the window at the police cars, the federal agents, the neighbors gathering to watch Elena Martinez, or whatever her real name is, being driven away. Come home, sweetheart, I say. We need to talk. But Mom, about the competency hearing. There won't be a hearing. There won't be guardianship. There won't be any of the things you planned. My voice is steady, strong, final. But there will be consequences. 6 hours later, my family sits around my kitchen table like chastened children. The same table where Elena mixed sedatives into my coffee, where Sarah photographed fake evidence, where they planned to steal my life. We thought we were helping, Michael says weakly. You thought you were inheriting. I correct. There's a difference. The doctors said you were declining. The doctors said what Elena told them to say, based on evidence Elena manufactured. While Elena poisoned me with drugs that created the symptoms you were all so concerned about. Sarah is crying. Real tears, not the crocodile tears she shed for the lawyers. Mom, we never meant. You meant to have me declared incompetent. You meant to control my assets. You meant to put me away somewhere convenient where I couldn't embarrass you or burden you anymore. I stand up, and they all flinch. What you didn't mean to do was make me stronger. I walk to the kitchen window, looking out at my garden, my neighborhood, my life. All of it still mine. All of it reclaimed. Elena Martinez will spend the rest of her life in federal prison. Her real name, apparently, is Rebecca Thorne, and she's wanted for identity theft and fraud in 14 states. The FBI thinks she's responsible for at least 6 deaths over 30 years. 6 deaths? Tommy whispers. Including my sister Rose. I turn back to face them. The aunt you barely remember. The woman who died protecting family from people exactly like Elena. The kitchen is silent, except for the clock ticking and Sarah's quiet sobs. Here's what's going to happen, I continue. You're going to return every legal document you filed. You're going to apologize to every doctor, lawyer, and official you lied to. You're going to tell the truth about what you did and why you did it. And then? David asks. And then you're going to earn back my trust. All of you. Starting from 0. I sit back down at the table, my table, in my house, in my life, and look at each of them in turn. I'm 72 years old, not dead. I'm wealthy, not incompetent. I'm your mother and grandmother, not your burden. My voice carries authority I'd forgotten I possessed, and I'm not going anywhere. Outside, the last police car pulls away. Inside, my family begins the long process of learning who Margaret Henderson really island. And somewhere in the space between earth and sky, Rose Henderson rests in peace at last.